Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
First, we would like to thank the organizers of the ISKCON Hammanskraal for inviting us and allowing us to be with them today as they celebrate the life of Mother Vrindavanesvari. In the culture of commerce, there are 6 things. One is that people have to understand the income, they have to understand expenditure, liability, assets, and also cash. And flow, which means cash flow. Because the culture is to manage the flow of cash in the company. So Mother Sri Vrindavanesvari, she came from that culture. She came from the commercial culture, having been trained and worked for the bank. So when she came to ISKCON, she immediately took responsibilities. I remember at Marvel's Spirit, she was in charge of the shop that we had there in the temple, which was full of the things that the devotees needed. And she was involved in so many different aspects of our preaching mission as kind of a cash flow manager. She made sure that we didn't overspend or wrongly spend Krishna's money. And we see that in the end, she was so focused that she gave all her heart and cash to Srila Prabhupada's mission. And when I heard about that, I was very much inspired to discuss certain things with her regarding what she wanted to do, because upon retirement, she wanted to engage in preaching activities there. So Mother Sri Vrindavanesvari, she joined in Johannesburg, where she kind of like helped us in so many ways with our finances. And then later on, she went to Trustworth in Devon, where she was in charge of the restaurant. She did very well also, the restaurant was thriving. And she went to Mumbai. After some time, she went to India. So when she came to Bombay, Bombay is one of our biggest temples in ISKCON. Even now, it's still one of those big temples where there are so many sophisticated managers, highly educated managers in India. But they had crisis, also the financial crisis. They had problems with keeping up with the accounts. So when she came, she was asked if she could help out. Immediately, she went in and sorted out their books in no time. There's someone coming from South Africa to a highly advanced country, India, when it comes to accounts and things like that. So, but she was never a person of limelight. Not many bodies know her not many bodies know her in ISKCON, but she was always in the background doing the service. And then after India also, she went to Mauritius to help manage the temple there in Phoenix. And she opened the restaurant, which is still running today. So she did a lot of service, not just here in South Africa, also in other countries. And as Narottam was saying, that unfortunately, ISKCON South Africa lost her. And so today, we can pray that her enthusiasm and her surrender to Srila Prabhupada's mission may rub on us, so that we can have that determination. Indeed, she was a very rare soul, not rare in the sense of being maybe a famous person or a sannyasi. There's so many devotees who are very rare, but they may not be in the limelight. They may be grihastas, they may be mothers, but Krishna is seeing their contributions. So she was one of those very rare souls who contributed so much. And then later on, as Narottam was saying, she came here and displayed that quality by giving so many things, and including this wonderful center. And it's just amazing. When I came here, I was thinking this place is like a summer resort. Yeah, like in the middle of Hammanskraal. It's like we're in a resort, isn't it? Do you feel like in Hammanskraal? It's different. Yes. So that's the quality of her service. That she produced the quality of service here in a place like Hammanskraal. When you think of Hammanskraal, maybe you may think of some renovated shack and like that. But she wanted to do something wonderful for so much. So we very much appreciate her effort.
Grace Mother Vrindavanesvari, His Holiness Bhaktin Shingasani Maharaj. So then the second part of this project, this facility was a tablet in the past. It was like a rundown schedule that wasn't in operation for the longest time. So this ceiling was not there. This side, there was a staircase going down, like a lounge. And then all these buildings, they were like just about to be almost like destroyed. But Mataji came and she tried. Then after some time, after we have tried for so long time, then somebody else came in the picture by the name of Rupa Goswami Prabhu, who is here sitting next to Prabhu wearing orange. That's Rupa Goswami Prabhu who came. He could also see the potential in this project. And then also he could understand Mother Vrindavaneswari's heart. And then he came and did so much work. He helped with the ceiling. He helped re-establish the kitchen was non-existent. He established the ceiling. He brought some men from his place. They unroofed the whole roofing and then it was re-roofed again. And then also he went to the other building and there was a lot of work that was done after Mataji had kind of attracted the likes of Rupa Goswami Prabhu. So he's also a big member, or at least he's a big part of the ISKCON Hammanskraal project. Have you seen Prabhu, all of you?
No.
Can Prabhu maybe stand up? Rupa Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Yeah, so Prabhu, he still has got so much liking and heart to help us in preaching. I've heard him say earlier that he's planning on establishing a library. There's a spare room just next door. He wants to establish a library there. So we are very grateful for also Prabhu, who took so much effort and invested so much money in this facility. His Grace Rupa Goswami Prabhu ki jai. So after Maharaj has spoken, we can also give Kovalan Prabhu a few minutes. We would also like to say a few words after Maharaj has spoken.
Thank you. And I think it would be really appropriate to have a few words from Mother Vrindavaneswari's son, who's there, Krishna Das Prabhu. Yeah, you know Krishna Das. There he goes. Hey! No, I remember him from. What year did you and your mother come?
1885 or 86.
Yeah, something like that, right. Kind of mid to later 80s. So this is the son of Mother Vrindavaneswari, who came with her, and you were just a little boy, I remember at that time. Christian, right? Was that your name?
Ernest.
Ernest. Anyway, Hare Krishna. And he's here. And I think his good wife is here, who haven't seen for yonks. But I thought I saw her. Is that her name? Through the gap. Well, yeah. I remember that time, in the 80s, I think we had already built or opened our main temple down in Durban already, I think. And just shortly after that, or right around that time, later 80s, Mother Vrindavanesvari appeared along with her son. They appeared at our then center in Muldersdrift, just outside Joburg. And she was really a very determined person. Actually, I think what Bhakti Nrsimha Maharaj said was really to the point. She was very dedicated, very determined, and whatever she got into, she really got into that and really worked hard, and not just hard, but intelligently and creatively to make a difference and make a real contribution in Srila Prabhupada's movement. A very dedicated person. Her history through the years, Maharaj mentioned, what I remember, I don't want to just repeat that, but I remember she phoned me, whatever it was, a few years ago, not long, but before COVID, if I remember correctly, she phoned me and she told me she is retiring or has retired. And I don't know if she had been here at that point, but she really wanted to help with the preaching within the African community, which is extremely important. She was. I wish, a lot of others would come up with the same conviction and inspiration. And so she told me that she's retiring or retired, and she has some money, and she wants to give it to help develop Hammanskraal. And I cannot remember the figure that she mentioned, but it could have been in the vicinity of 400,000 rands. It was something along those lines that she gave. To have someone who just comes along and just gives 400,000 rands, not so common. But her heart was like that. Her heart was like that. She would just give to whatever, not just money, but she would give herself to whatever she got into, and that was going back for all those years. It's like about getting around 45 years or so. So she wanted to do that here, and she did it. But then, of course, today we are observing this occasion. We've unveiled the plaque just outside here, which will be there, it'll be there forever, basically. It'll be there. So we can remember her, and people, visitors, can come to know about her. But the thing is, that Krishna, I have my plan, you have your plan, each one of us has our plan, but Krishna has his plan. And, take a guess which plan comes out in the end. Well, ultimately it's Krishna's plan. And, maybe we can say that, it's said a lot, that there are definitely devotees, so many devotees have passed away, and passed away early, like not long before, you could say, the average life expectancy. But sometimes we say, because I think there's a lot of truth in it, that sometimes Krishna, he just feels that he wants the association of this particular devotee. Tamal Krishna Goswami, what a devotee. Gaur Govinda Swami, Mahavishnu Das Goswami, and many others. Jayananda Das way back. And that's the feeling that devotees have, that these were such nice devotees that Krishna felt, I want this person with me. And even though for us it's kind of, you could say it's inconvenient, it would be so useful even, you could say, if she was still here with us, because she would do a lot. But, we have to respect Krishna's plan and Krishna's desire. So I remember my last meeting with her was right here. Not long ago, 6 months ago or something like that. And it didn't look like she was just going to depart. I thought maybe she'd recover. But anyway, Krishna's plan. So that I feel very grateful to Krishna that I knew her and that I saw her, and even I saw her just not long before she passed away. And she's the sort of person we should aspire to follow in the footsteps of. As Maharaj said, she was not one of these prominent devotees who, get up in front of everyone and everyone knows the name of and all that. She was behind the scenes. So we should try to follow in her footsteps and have that mood of selfless service without desire for any prestige or, I'm sure if we told her, listen, we're going to put a plaque up with your name and your picture on it, she would have been the first one to say, no, forget it. But anyway, she deserves it. Actually, she deserves a lot more too. So thank you, Krishna, for letting me have the association I did have with her over the years. Hare Krishna. Mother Vrindavanesvari ki jai. And I hope that Krishna Das is going to say something. That has disappeared or what?
Hare Krishna, Mother Vrindavanesvari ki. His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj ki. So before we hand over to Govardhan Prabhu, behind Maharaj, towards Maharaj's right hand, there's Mataji's best friend, who we think she can also, share something, just a minute.
I'm a bit emotional.
No, let's do it on the mic.
I'm a bit emotional. I'm too emotional.
More, say something more.
It's a good time to do it.
Just bear with me. My name is Olga Hurley. I met Sylvia in 1977 at Sacred Heart Convent St. Joseph School. It was a boarding school. And actually we became friends since until she passed away.
What she likes, what you did together.
Sylvia was a wonderful person. She was always, as they mentioned, she will always give and give without expecting anything back. I really can't describe it. If I start now or end next year, she was just a wonderful person. and we were getting along, everything. We were doing everything together. That's all.
Grace Vrindavanesvari ki. His Grace Govardhan Prabhu ki. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So although we're very happy here, as Sylvia, as her best friend, it makes the occasion special if you're here. Thank you so much. We are very indebted to Mother Vrindavanesvari. We have deep gratitude to her for her exemplary life and devotion and her exemplary sacrifice that she made here in Hammanskraal. The property next door, if you come in on the right-hand side, was bought by Vrindavanesvari. And her heart and soul was here actually. You come here now, you feel a particular spirit that permeates the atmosphere, and spring in the step, certain vibrancy. And she wanted to create something special here. So a very good tribute to her memory would be for us to kind of leave it as a legacy project for her and deliver what she aspired for. Building a little Vaishnava community here that's self-sustaining, that grows and serves the area around us. So many people can get together to chant Hare Krishna. Of course, we know that Krishna is impartial. That's what the Shastra says. But actually, he is partial, like the king. The king is impartial to everybody in his kingdom, all the children in the kingdom. But his own children, he has a particular soft spot for. When he goes home, he pays very particular attention to his own children. So whatever Krishna's plans were, we can be assured that Vrindavanesvari is in very good hands, the best hands possible. And for the short time that we got to know, I knew her intermittently in the late 80s. I had a good fortune some months before she left to have some interaction with her about various things in Hammanskraal. And also, she, as Marat said, she served in Mauritius. She served for a long time in ISKCON. Devotee serving with such exemplary attitude can only have one possible destination. So we're grateful to her. I also want to take the opportunity, because I might not get another chance to do that, when I asked Rupa Goswami to come, please help financially and otherwise, he unhesitatingly did that. Came immediately, did whatever was required, came a few times. And so Rupa Goswami Prabhu, thank you so much. I know you built a room here for Vrindavanesvari. Built it and I think almost furnished it, but she couldn't get to stay in there. Narottam Prabhu, also yourself, thank you so much. It's not easy to shoulder a project like this, but you did it. And you brought it up to where it is. We're grateful to you also. Thank you so much. Vrindavanesvari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. So before getting into the kirtan part of it, Prabhu will say a few words, and then he will lead the kirtan. And then after kirtan, we'll have supper. We'll share supper, all of us.
Hare Krishna. So I wrote this book of appreciation sometime, 6 months ago, I think. One Memorial evening we had in Santon, where His Holiness Bhakti Vishnu Swami was also present. So I'll be remiss if I don't share some glories that I experienced of Grace Mother Vrindavanesvari. So I remember at the time when she left, I had many different sentiments, many different feelings, and the principal one was that everything around that time was reminding us of Radhe and Shamasunder in Vrindavan. And the reason will be explained now. And also memories of Krishna and Balaram started to flood the heart and the mind just because Mataji had left. So that was quite a prominent thing that came unsolicited into my mind and heart. So some of the history was in 1990, I was 19 years old, my wife was 18, and we basically landed on the ISKCON landscape at that time, and we noticed, at least I noticed, and we all noticed, there was a second wave of preachers after the direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and these were the grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And they were much in line with Srila Prabhupada's immediate and direct disciples, in the sense that their sincerity, and meaning Mataji herself, their sincerity was very akin to the direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada. There was hardly a distinction between them. There was an overlap of determination that we saw in these devotees and Mataji herself, and their sincerity in giving Krishna consciousness. The sincerity of Mataji and her determination in giving Krishna consciousness to everyone, to me at that young age, was very, very conspicuous. My recollections of her moving everywhere, always with her Sankirtan bag. And then soon I learned that she had a son who was living in Vrindavan. This was somewhere in the 90s. And sometime later, very soon later, I saw him when he came on holiday to South Africa. He was running around being very naughty. I didn't want to know personally, because as a new devotee, I didn't want to know the details of what mischief he was getting up to. But it was always very funny to witness. A Vrindavan boy, if you will, causing anxiety to his mother. Does that remind you of something? The difference being, she was shouting, Krishna Das, Krishna Das, Krishna Das. She had to do that. She had to call him Das, otherwise you'd be confused. You might be thinking Mother Yashoda was calling Krishna. So to me that was quite humorous. And this boy was a very small, very short boy. He was so short that in the restaurant he was even below the bakeries. When he went behind the counter, you couldn't see him. So the day that Mataji left, my wife and I had some sort of blessings to be there, or to be part of that, that day. Very early in the morning, Mataji left us. It was still very dark, and we were fortunate to do some service for her at the hospital. Immediately when we got there, it was way before 5 o'clock in the morning, and this hospital is known to us because my wife was receiving the same kind of treatment that Mataji was receiving at the oncology department a few years before that. So we arrived at the hospital, and the striking thing that I saw, and even my wife saw, and Paul was there, she also saw this, that to us it was direct and very obvious that she looked 30 years younger than we remember her. And this was very unusual. Her face was free from any pain, free from any anxiety. She looked the form of peace, a face that looked of pure spiritual bliss. And I say this without speculation, because in my time, I've seen people who have passed on, who left their bodies, and they didn't look like this. So something that also came to mind was a letter that Srila Prabhupada wrote to Jayananda Prabhu, like Maharaj mentioned, where Prabhupada says, I am feeling very intensely your separation. But as you are here in Krishna Kirtan, I am sure that you were directly promoted to Krishna Loka. Srila Prabhupada wrote this letter to Jayananda Prabhu. And he says also in another place, Krishna has done a great favor to you, not to continue your diseased body, and has given you a suitable place for your service. Thank you very much. Her Grace Vrindavanesvari Mataji ki. Vaishnava Sadhu Sangha ki.
Vimadas Prabhu, okay? Kirtan time, Prabhu. So we'll now start the Kirtan. Prabhu is here with his instrument, so yeah, in honor of Mother Vrindavanesvari. Srila Prabhupada ki, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki, His Grace Shatadi Prabhu ki, Mother Vrindavanesvari ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. By the way, Shatadi Prabhu comes from Port Elizabeth. He's a temple president in that area. And we've got Jagopan Prabhu here from the Northwest Province, from a place called Mafike. He's also heading a project in Mafike. Yeah, so now do some kirtan. Yeah, we can all stand up and start the kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare
His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, Devi Dasi Ki, Srimati Vrindavanesvari Devi Dasi Ki, God Premanande, all glories to this